Sincerest apologies for being late again, young scholars. Unfortunately, my blackboard was down for the last 15 minutes. Hopefully nobody else had that issue. So what we're going to cover today is just we're going to walk through and do Excel homework number 7 together. Hopefully everybody got the message I sent out about access to the full version of Excel so that you can use both the web browser version and the app version on your desktop. Most of you had emailed me prior, so I sent your name to the help desk and they were able to make sure that the issue was resolved. Anybody else who was not in that list of names that I sent out in the message on Blackboard, if you're still having issues, make sure to let me know ASAP. And like I said, anybody who doesn't have a grade for homework 6 because you didn't have access to GoalSeek, make sure to get that done by Friday. All right, so if you click on Excel homework number 7, just like number 6, you have a bunch of different instructions listed here. But first, let's go down to the bottom there where it says pivot. Click the little caret here and then the downward arrow with the box around it to download your pivot table file to open. So in essence, what a pivot table does is it takes information from a bigger table that you might have and allows you to what's called slice or extract information from it so that you only have the information displayed that you want. So here we're going to do 6 different instances with the data worksheet table info to give us information that we would like. So when you open the pivot table file here, you're going to have data and dates as your 2 worksheets. So we're asked to create pivot tables for the data worksheet that will display answers to each of these questions. Each pivot table should have its own worksheet. What were the revenues for each city in 2002? We're going to name that worksheet Part A. What were the revenues for each city in 2002 for store, catalog, and web sales? And I tell you the how column, because that's what store, catalog, and web are under. We're going to name that Part B. In each city, what were the revenue of each product for store, catalog, and web sales? Again, the how column. In 2002, we're going to name that worksheet Part C. What was the total quantity of compasses sold in London over the web? We're going to name that Part D. What was the average quantity of hammocks sold in each city in 2002? We're going to name that Part E. And what were the revenues for each month in 2002? We're going to name that Part F. Then we're also going to use the data worksheet to do 3 other things. We're going to make a copy of it, and we're going to do a date sort. Then we're going to, in 2 separate instances, use filters within that data worksheet in order to display only the city of Paris and then to display only the top 10% in revenue. And then lastly, we're going to use the dates worksheet to calculate the average number of days between each of the sales. And I'll show you that. We touched a little bit on the date function on Monday. All right. So the first thing we do is we go to our Insert tab and then Pivot Tables. we highlight our entire worksheet data information here. So it's our table range A through F. And since we want to have a new worksheet created that we're going to call Part A, we have to make sure that it's clicked New Worksheet. We click OK. I'm going to rename the worksheet Part A so we don't have to worry about it later. So we're asked, what were the revenues for each city in 2002? So all we need to do is where to get us our cities. And then we scroll down and select revenue from our pivot table fields. And because I selected the entire A through F columns, it gives us this row that says blank. If you were just to select the all the info itself, you wouldn't have that. So if you had, A1 through F1000, instead of all of it, it's not going to show that blank. So that is part A. Very simple, very quick, hopefully. You simply click where and revenue from the pivot table. The next one asks for the revenues for each city in 2002 for store, catalog, and web, which is the how column. So we click back to data. We go to the insert tab again, pivot table again. And this is the way you would do it if you were just selecting the data itself, not all of the columns. So it would be A1 through F1001. And we have new worksheet. We click OK. We rename it to Part B. So since we want a city, we do where. We want the revenue for the money, but we wanted sales, web, etc. So we need to add the how column. Now it gives us all the information for catalog, store, and web for each of these different cities. And you notice there's no blank because I only highlighted the actual cells there. So for the next one, part C, we're asked what were the revenue of each product for store, catalog, and web sales in 2002? So we go back to our data tab, insert, pivot table, same thing. Our table range, new worksheet. We rename it Part C. And we have to do the same thing as we did previous. Where, how, and revenue. But it wants to know what were the revenues for each product. So in order to get the products, we also have to select what. So now we see, okay, the boots, we made this much, the saddle, we made this much, etc., for all of these. So again, we're just getting certain information that we want from this big table in the data section or the data worksheet. So for D, we're asked what was the total quantity of compasses sold in London over the web? So we do insert pivot table again. Our table range A1 through F1001, new worksheet. Okay. We rename to part E. And we need where for the city. We need what for the product. We need how, because we want to know how it was sold. And this time we need quantity, because we're looking for the total number of the items. However, for where, we only care about London. So we click the caret all the way on the right next to where. We deselect all and only select London. So now it only shows us the products from London. But all we care about is the compasses. So in the caret all the way to the right of what, we click the drop down, we deselect all, and we only select compass. Now it only shows us where we're selling the compass, catalog, store, and web. But we only care about web. So for how, we go all the way to the side to the right, get the caret, deselect all, and only select web. So now we see we only had 9 of them sold on the web. So the next one, part E, if you have a Mac, is a little different than what I'm going to go over. So it asks us, what was the average quantity of hammocks sold in each city in 2002? So again, I click back to the data worksheet, insert, pivot table, our table range, new worksheet. I name it part E. So I have to do where, what, and quantity. We need the city. We need the product. We need the number. But for what, I was asked only for hammocks. So I go to the right, click the caret, deselect all, and just select hammock. So for the next part, like I said, on a Mac, it's a little different. On a Windows PC, down the bottom here, we have values, sum of quantity. On a Mac, you have to click on quantity to get what I'm about to show. So on a Windows, I click sum of quantity here, select value field settings, and change the sum to the average, because that's what we're asked for. And then I click OK. And now I have the average. The average of hammocks sold in London is a little over 3, New York a little over 3, etc., etc. Now the last one, part F, what were the revenues for each month in 2002? We click back to our data worksheet, insert, pivot table. Okay. And this time we just need when and revenue, since we're simply asked what were the revenues for each month in 2002. And we rename that part F. Now, we're asked to copy the data from the data worksheet to a spreadsheet named Date Sort. Display data sorted by date. So we right-click the data worksheet and select Move or Copy. And we select Data Worksheet from our list and click the check mark next to Create a Copy. We click OK. We now have a worksheet that says data 2. We right click, we rename that date sort. Now we click the column above A. We do to our sort and filter, sort oldest to newest. It gives you the little warning. Do you want to make sure that you sort everything so it remains matched? Expand the selection is what that means. We click sort, and everything now sorts to our oldest date. And we scroll down to our most recent date. So that I've shown you before. The next two we haven't seen before, which is the filter option. So we're again asked to copy the data from the data worksheet, this time to a spreadsheet named Paris. Display rows for Paris only. So we right click on the data worksheet again, move or copy again. We select it from our list. We click the check mark next to create a copy. We click OK. Again, we have data 2 show up here. We right click and rename that Paris. So we click above the where column, column B, and from the sort and filter options here, we select filter, which now gives us a little caret next to the word where. And it says showing all when you scroll over it. We click the caret and it gives us these options here, just like it did with the pivot table. So we deselect all and we simply select Paris. And we click OK. Now only the city of Paris sales show up. And we're almost done. Now we need to copy the data from the data worksheet, this time to a spreadsheet named Top 10. We're going to display values for top 10 percentage in revenue only. So even though this says top 10, there's going to be more than 10 results because we're showing the top 10% in revenue, not just the top 10 items, if you will, or products. So we right click the data worksheet again. We select move or copy. We scroll down now because we have a lot of worksheets here. We select the data worksheet again. We check the check next to create a copy. We click OK. It shows up as data 2. We right click and rename the top 10. And this time, since we want the top 10 percentage of revenue, we click above column F. Again, we click sort and filter and select the filter option. So again, it gives us this little caret here. We click the caret, and instead of dealing with any of the deselection and selection, we use what's called the number filters. So when you scroll over the number filters, you get a bunch of options: equals, does not equal, greater than or equal, less than, etc. We want to utilize the one here that says top 10. We click that, and it asks us top, yes, that's what we want. 10, yes, that's what we want. Items, no, that's not what we want. So we click the caret there and change it from items to percent. And then we click OK. And notice here, like I said, it gives us more than 10 because some of them 1794, there's like 6 different ones that have that exact amount. So it just gives the top 10% of those, I think it's 1,000 records. So now you're almost done with homework 7. Lastly, we're asked on the worksheet dates, there are 27 sales. Calculate the average number of days between sales. Put the answer in cell G30. So you click on the dates worksheet. And you see here, it says average number of days between sales in F31, because we're going to put the answer there in G31. So the first thing we need to do is organize our dates. So we select column A. We do sort and filter, sort oldest to newest. It asks us to expand the selection so that everything remains matched. Then we click sort, and it does what we need it to do. So then in cell G3, we're going to determine how many days there are between A2 and A3. So we do equals A3 minus A2 to determine how many days there were between the current date and the previous date. And we click enter. So between January 25th and February 7th, there's 13 days. So we click back into that cell and autofill the formula down through G28 to get and determine how many days there are in between each of our sales here. If we did not sort this so that each date comes one after the other, then our answers would not be correct. And then last but not least, we calculate our average. We do equals average G3 colon G28 close parentheses. That's because we have nothing in G2. There's no date before it. So we start at G3 and we go down to everything we have. And we click enter. So on average in the year 2002, we made a sale every, let's say, 13 days. So that's a quick overview of pivot tables and the sort and filter option. When you have certain information, like I just showed you, that you want to pull out of a bigger table. So once you save all that, you're able to submit homework number 7. It should get your 50 out of 50 points for it. So again, if you don't currently have a grade on Blackboard for homework 6, that's because there was something up with it. No formulas. You didn't answer the question in number 3 that you need an A in Mandarin, or you didn't do goal seek in question 4, or problem 4 rather. So again, make sure that you get that to me by Friday. Next week, big week, midterm exam on Wednesday. Everybody, even those that have just been watching the videos and not attending on Zoom, everybody has to come on Monday. We're going to do a midterm review, which, like I said, is basically going to be similar to the midterm. We're going to basically have a word problem, and we solve the problem using Excel. And then the midterm is going to be basically the same thing. So the midterm, you can open at 10 a.m. on Wednesday next week, and you'll have until the Sunday the spring break ends. So 3/17 by 11:59, like it's been with all of the other assignments. You only need to pop into the Zoom meeting next Wednesday if you have questions on the midterm exam, you may have, you may open the instructions and be completely overwhelmed. That's fine. Come in, ask questions. The reason I do the practice exam is so that you have even more quote unquote notes available to do your midterm. So, is there any questions on any of that? Again, like I said, if you are still having issues, reach out, email me. I'll try and resolve that ASAP by forwarding it off to the help desk. Dwayne, I just forwarded your email off to them before, so. All right, if there are no other questions, everybody have a great rest of your day and good weekend. I'll see you on Monday.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
For the goal seek, homework 6,
Yes.
you said that you didn't post the grades yet.
If you have a grade, you don't have to do anything. Otherwise, like check if it doesn't say it's graded, there's something up with your assignment. Either you didn't have goal seek to do it for problem 4, you didn't answer the question number 3, A in Mandarin, or you didn't have the formula set up. One of those could be a reason.
Oh, can I show my screen so I can show you?
Yes. Shit. Okay, you should have the option to do that now.
All right. Mm. Just open up.
So click that button there with the downward arrow and the box around it to download it.
Mm. Oh, I have it. It's in my.
Okay.
Actually, no, never mind. So let me do that. No, go on. Quick.
Oh, okay. So that's probably why, because you submitted it as a PDF file. So go ahead and submit it as like a .xls or .xlsx,
Okay.
and
How
go
do
ahead and email that to me, and I'll give you the points.
Okay, all right. Why do I stop sharing? uh,
There should be a little green button on the bottom.
oh no, I see it. Yep. Stop sharing.
All right.
You just email it to you.
Yep. Just email it to me. I'll give you the 50 points, and you'll be good.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.